Rise and shine, it's a brand new day. Ken and Ken take the stage, ready to play. Weekdays at 10, the cars and the scene. Coffee in hand, they're living the dream. Aggression in the voice, got the whole town awake. Bringing fire to the mic, make no mistake. Shows in the corner, spitting out facts. Dropping truth bombs, ain't holding back. Ken and Ken in the morning, feel the heat. From 10 a.m. CST, can take a seat. We live and loud, that break in the mind. Light up your speakers, crank up the sound. They're talking about life upside down. Opinions exploding like a sonic blast. In the studio, they're built to last. With passion and grit, they engage and ignite. Every single week, their force can't fight. From sports to politics,
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Well, hello there, everybody. Good.
Ay, ay, ay.
Hey, might be there we go. Holy shit, man! Freaking, we ain't having any luck.
Made it all the way through the intro, and then all of a sudden, as soon as it went live, it just cut out, dude.
Jeez. Well, let's do this again. Welcome everybody to Ken and Ken in the morning, minus a Ken plus a Joe.
Yeah, live from the backyard.
Oh, well, we got a bit of head coaching news yesterday.
You talking about Minter going to the Ravens?
Yep.
Yeah.
And,
so
this
is kind of interesting, right? Like, there was somebody on Twitter. He's like a beat writer or something, but he said that the Raiders were showing heavy interest in Minter, and that the Baltimore Ravens like jumped on it and made it, and basically like made him their head coach to sort of poach him away from the Raiders because the Raiders were showing heavy interest. But there's speculation that Minter isn't actually who the Raiders wanted, that they're playing a little subterfuge, a little game here, like, which, we've never really talked about this, but how much of that actually goes on in the coaching search, right? Like where a team pretends that this is the guy that they want, so that another team picks him up, so that secretly it's like the guy you want is over here, right? Like, does that happen? It would be interesting I wish we could get like an NFL coaching coach or executive to speak to us about that. But we're nobody, so
One quick second there, Joe. We're massively sorry to hear that, JB, and prayers for your uncle.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, but unfortunately we're nobody, so we can't get like an NFL GM to speak to us about that. And they probably wouldn't tell us the truth anyway, because why are you going to give up your bag of tricks, right?
I was going to say the best you could get is maybe one of these former executives that there ain't no way they're ever going back into the league. Maybe you'll get one of them to say something about that. But other than that, they're going to keep that shit real close to their chest. But since this was in your division that he came from, why don't you tell us there a bit about the Chargers DC? Because to me, he's a little bit of an unknown quantity.
Well, I mean, just look at the way the Chargers played last year. Like, their defense was legit. Even with Khalil Mack going down for a good chunk, like they were good. And without Bosa, like, they still. I mean, Harbaugh has a lot to do with it too, because one thing about Harbaugh is he has really disciplined teams. But yeah, he's a good defensive coordinator, and I think he's actually a really good fit for the Ravens. I think he's better for the Ravens than he would be for the Raiders, which leads me to believe like maybe there's some truth to that rumor, that go ahead. You look like
why do you think that he'd be better for the Ravens versus the Raiders?
Well, because the Ravens have an already built offense. They have an already established defense. They have some aging players on their defense, but it's not anything that can't be addressed over the course of a draft and free agency or even 2 drafts. They can completely refresh that whole defense. But defense was a problem for them this last year because they have some aging veterans, and like Marlon Humphreys, for example, like, he's been falling off for the last few years, and it's like they kind of just don't want to admit it. Like, they really like the guy, but he's been a liability in coverage. They need some pass rush juice over there, and so I'm not surprised they went defensive head coach. It'll be interesting to see who they choose as their offensive coordinator. And speaking of which, so the Chargers lost their defensive coordinator, and then they hired, at least tentatively hired, Mike McDaniel as their offensive coordinator. But from what I'm reading, he's only the Chargers OC if he doesn't get a head coaching job. And the Raiders have not told him he's out yet as a head coaching candidate. So again, you got intrigue here, because do the Raiders make the jump on Mike McDaniel so that he doesn't go become the OC for Harbaugh in their division? Like, that's a question.
That I think would be a massively smart move for them to do, because I'm already a big fan of Mike McDaniel and his offense, but there are some questions with how his tenure with the Dolphins went, with it being so up and down. But I gotta say, with how I like his offense, and that he is now going to be the offensive coordinator for your division rival, it's to me, it would be almost a no-brainer that I'm not going to let you get better by hiring this guy for OC if I think in any way he can be the head coach for my team.
Well, and here's another thing is like, so if the Raiders actually did decide to hire Mike McDaniel as the head coach, right? Now, not only have the Chargers lost their DC, but now they've lost their OC as well. So now they're starting from scratch on a coaching staff, which any way you can weaken a division opponent, you definitely should. If it's feasible, you should do it, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't want to hire Mike McDaniel just for that reason, though. Like, I don't want to hire Mike McDaniel just because it's weakening the Chargers, unless they feel that he's the best candidate. And I'll go ahead and say he's been one of my favorites for the candidates for the job since he got fired by the Dolphins.
Even if he isn't the best candidate, but it's close, would that push the needle for you?
I look at, you have to ask yourself several questions if you're the Raiders, right? One, is every good coach going to want to come here? Probably not. Like the Raiders have a pretty decent situation when you consider cap space, number 1 overall pick, some talent already on the roster. But then you have, issues like they fire coaches every year or two, right? Like, there hasn't been a lot of patience shown with coaches to develop or to implement their vision. So I like McDaniel because I do think that he would be really good to help develop Fernando Mendoza. Like, you see what he was able to do with Tua, right? Like, Tua was hot garbage before McDaniel got there, and all of a sudden he turned him into a serviceable quarterback, right?
Don't forget, there were a couple years that people were asking if Tua was a top 5 quarterback. Now, granted, I didn't agree. I didn't agree with it, but there were a lot of people talking about it.
Yeah. So another one of the big coaching candidates that I've been kind of pounding the table for is Davis Webb, right? Like, even though he has no head coaching experience, I just feel like he would be a good candidate too. But if we were to hire Mike McDaniel, it would really, if I was the Raiders, I would go offer Davis Webb that offensive coordinator job. I would talk to Mike McDaniel about it. Like, how about you give Webb the offensive coordinator job? Because then Webb gets his experience as an offensive coordinator, but when he gets poached, inevitably in a year or two, you're not going to lose your entire offense because the offense is McDaniels, right? Like it would be a good situation where you could like potentially, you get the benefits of Davis Webb for as long as he's there, but you don't have to make him your head coach and risk losing. It would be the best of both worlds kind of situation for me. But I don't know, because from what I see, the Raiders seem to be really in on Clint Kubiak. Like that's the guy that they kind of want, but I don't know.
And Fred brings up another interesting topic too, that the FBI is looking into Jim Irsay's death because he was a part of, I think it was a rehab clinic or something like that. And they ended up giving him, I forgot exactly which combination of drugs it was, but they were giving him 2 controlled substances. And I know one of them was an opiate. I'm not sure what the other was. But are we going to see a retread of the Michael Jackson shit? We're about to see another doctor go.
Look, doctors, they're trained in pharmacology and how drugs affect the body. I sincerely doubt that a doctor is going to prescribe 2 drugs that would have counteractive effects on each other or negative interaction with each other.
I think it's more, instead of the negative interaction with each other, I think it's that it should have been medications that were monitored more closely, and then that he could have been taking more than he was prescribed to take, and the doctor was just continuously giving him more.
Well,
okay, and it was ketamine and painkillers, which that is one hell of a freaking combination.
Yeah, I agree. It is a hell of a combination, but ketamine has been prescribed in low doses before. Painkillers, we talk about this epidemic of opioids in our country, especially with fentanyl, but nobody really talks about how, you can walk into a doctor's office and say my knee hurts and walk out with 200 Oxycontins, right? Like, I mean, it's gotten harder to do that as of recently. But
I was going to say it's damn near impossible now, because they're making.
Well, I still know people that get scripts like that.
I want to know how they do, because there's a lot of chronic pain people that are bitching that they aren't even being prescribed even any of it at all.
That's what I'm saying.
Most of what they're trying to push is the Suboxone shit. And they're trying to use that shit for fucking chronic pain.
Bro, it's like, if I go to the doctor, I could be bleeding out of my eyeballs, and they're like, oh, just take some ibuprofen, you'll be good, dude. Here, like, we'll have the nurse bring you some ibuprofen, and we'll charge you $800 for it. Whereas other people I know, they walk in and they walk out with scripts of like Oxy or, Norco, like whatever.
It's ridiculous, because I could walking in like fucking Igor, and they'll still, we don't want to give you that stuff, but we'll give you Suboxone, which is so much more addictive.
Well, yeah, it's I don't know. I don't want to get sidetracked, but I just what I'm trying to say is that Irsay had documented substance abuse issues, specifically with painkillers. So if he took too much, that's not really the doctor's fault. Like, the doctor can he can't really like be there 24 hours a day to monitor you, like he's trusting you that you're going to take it as prescribed, right?
Yes and no, is the doctors are supposed to kind of jump through hoops too to make sure you're taking them right, with random pill counts and and using their judgment and how often you are calling for the refills of it. That there's been a lot of doctors that have been handed up and sent to prison just over that.
Well, I've never met a single doctor that, in this is just my anecdotal experience, I've never met a single doctor that called me that gave me pain meds and then called me and said like, "Hey, I need you to come down and show me how many pills you have left. Like, I need you to."
They do that a lot in this
Yeah,
area.
see, I've never had that happen to me at all. But I live in California. I don't know, it's different states maybe, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, it's a sad situation because, being a recovering addict alcoholic, like
Mhm.
I definitely feel pain for his family. Like losing someone to addiction is terrible. It sucks. Like because you watch the person that you love slip away, and unless they get help, there's nothing you can do about it. No amount of emotional appeal is gonna break through that. It's something that they have to get sick and tired of being sick and tired,
Yep.
and that's what it took for me.
Mm,
That's what it takes
that's what it
generally.
took for me.
So
Cause shit,
yeah.
they were feeding me that shit since I was 13 years old, and
Yeah.
then wondered why I became a monster. Maybe that might have a slight bit to do with it. Granted, I definitely had my own part in it. Do not get me wrong.
All the local grocery stores refuse to sell Ken Foil.
Hey, I never foiled it, man.
They're like, no, Ken.
No, they just wouldn't let me buy straws in bulk. But we should probably get back to football.
Back to football.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Minter is a good hire for Baltimore, man. Like, I think he'll fix the issues they have defensively. The real question in Baltimore, though, is like, is Lamar Jackson happy there? Because there's been talks like that he didn't get along with Harbaugh, that he wanted an offensive minded coach, and then they go and they hire Jesse Minter instead. Like, there, as much as I don't want it, the rumor mill about Lamar being possibly traded to the Raiders is starting to pick up steam.
I was gonna say I'm hearing a lot of it, and personally, if I was you, I wouldn't be against it, except for this little bit of the attitude problem. And granted, we don't know what's been going on behind closed doors because they could have been pissing in this guy's Cheerios freaking every day since he's been there. But
Yeah, I'm not even going to talk about Lamar's attitude because that's low hanging fruit, man. Like too many people talk about that, but let's be honest. Like Lamar has been nothing but the consummate professional. The only instance I think of was his contract situation when he was trying to get that new deal, and even then, it wasn't that he was trying to be difficult. He just didn't want to go through an agent. He wanted to negotiate his own contract. Like he has the right to do that. It's probably a bit foolish, but it ended up working out for him, right? He got a similar to the Deshaun Watson deal. Like, but on the field and off the field, press conferences, like Lamar has never been the type to throw his teammates under the bus. He's always taken accountability for his actions, for his losses, and so he's been a consummate professional. So I'm willing to forego commenting on his attitude. The reason why I don't want him is his injury history. Like as we go on, his style of play is not sustainable into your mid-30s, right? Like it's just not. Like we're already starting to see the wear and tear on the wheels, right? Like he's not able to stay healthy a whole season. He's going to miss 3 games, maybe 5 games in a season. And I don't want to pay a guy $55 million a year that's only going to be there for 11 games. I just don't. Like, and that's even including the fact, like, you have a chance to bring an MVP quarterback in and you have Tom Brady in the building. What could Tom Brady teach Lamar? If Lamar is humble enough to be like, this is the GOAT, I have a chance to learn from the GOAT. If he's humble enough to do that, I have no doubt that there's something that Tom Brady could add to his game, dude.
Yeah, I don't think there's many people out there in this world that would sit there and say, I'm a quarterback and I got one of the best quarterbacks ever in the building with me. I'm not going to listen to a word that he's going to say. You got to, okay, I assume that you'd be sitting there hungry for that shit. Any insight you can give to help fucking make this process go any better, I'm all for.
Yeah, but Tom Brady is not one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Like, he is the best quarterback of all time. I don't
Well,
even think it's disputable, dude. Like,
if you
and
ask,
it's not like I'm a huge Brady fan. Like, his whole dynasty with the Patriots was built on our backs. So, like,
well,
I'm not.
if you ask him, he names another quarterback as the greatest.
Well, of course he does, because what's he gonna say? Like, it sounds pretty arrogant to say I'm the greatest that ever did it. He
It,
lets
it,
his rings do the talking.
I was gonna say you got Michael Jordan telling everybody this shit.
Yeah, but
That's what
Michael
I want.
Jordan's an asshole.
That's what I want from the top guy. I want
Uh,
him to sit there and say, you know what? I am the best.
yeah,
If he can prove it, I want him to say it.
yeah. Well, Michael, you got Michael Jordan for that. Tom Brady is not that. But I don't think it's disputable at this point in time. Like, Patrick Mahomes still has, he's still got time. There's a
I was
chance
gonna
that he
say
could.
if he can come back from that injury and reinvent himself as a quarterback and go on another Super Bowl run, I hate to admit it, but he'd be in that argument.
Yeah,
Because shit, he's already knocking on the door now.
yeah, he's already knocking on the door now. But as of right now, Tom Brady is the GOAT. So
But
yeah,
Peyton isn't the man that Brady said.
yeah. So maybe Joe Montana. It would have to. I would say Joe Montana if you were going to say anyone, but that's
It
only
was
because Joe Montana was undefeated in Super Bowls. And
it was a 12, but a different 12.
oh well, yeah. I mean, if you're talking about most physically talented, yeah, and A-Rod was a very smart quarterback too. Like, I could see it, but for me, it's I don't think A-Rod was the best, because Tom Brady willed his team to victory in impossible circumstances. Aaron Rodgers, for whatever reason, there was a lot of NFC title games where
you want to know what the huge difference was? Brady in that top 5 or top 10 defense every Super Bowl that he won. Rodgers only had one top 10 defense his whole career, and that happened to be the year he won the Super Bowl.
Well, yeah, there's something to be said for that, but either way, I think, like, even with that potential of having, like, even with that potential of having Lamar be able to, like, rub shoulders with Tom Brady and have Tom Brady, add something to his game, I don't really want to make that move. I know, and people will call me crazy, like, you don't want a 2-time MVP, but I'm going to tell you, dude, like, I would rather go with Mendoza, not because I think Mendoza is better as a prospect or a better quarterback, but because we get that 5 years of a rookie contract. We have $100 million in cap space. If we go trade for Lamar, guess what? Half that cap space off the top whacked, right? So now you're bringing Lamar into a situation where you have no offensive line really, and he's already a runner, right? What do you think he's gonna do when that pocket starts to collapse, dude? Like, we'll have Lamar Jackson for 2 games, and then he's on the bench.
To be fair, with that shitty offensive line, I would much rather have Lamar Jackson that can go out there and run than have some dude try to stand in there in the pocket with a completely shitty old line that's just giving up pressure left and right. Because I think that's another way to have your quarterback on the bench after 2 games.
And you're right, in a vacuum. But here's the thing. The Raiders have between 90 and 110 million in cap space. And so they're going to address that offensive line. I guarantee it. And I just want to point out, the Raiders' offensive line, yes, it was historically bad last year, but it was historically bad for several reasons. It wasn't that the Raiders have no talent on the offensive line. Okay? Jackson Powers Johnson is a good offensive guard in the league. He's shown that he can be a very good, probably even a Pro Bowl player. Colton Miller, Pro Bowl left tackle, right? The problems that we had last year were with the other guard position and with the center and with the right tackle. DJ Glaze took a huge step backwards. But the year before, when Brennan Carroll wasn't the offensive line coach, DJ Glaze was showing promise. So I tend to think that coaching was a problem. I think also Pete Carroll playing players out of position, insisting on putting Jordan Meredith at center and having Alex Kappa start over Jackson Powers Johnson because you just don't like him. And then Colton Miller getting injured halfway through the season. All these things played a role, right? But just realistically, if you look at the Raiders' offensive line today, right, going into this season, you have Colton Miller coming back healthy at left tackle. You have Jackson Powers Johnson that you can put at either guard spot, and then you have Caleb Rogers, who you drafted last year and finally got to see some playing time at guard as a rookie, and he actually performed pretty well. So you're looking at Parham. Dylan Parham is a free agent this year. I would probably get rid of him unless you're going to keep him for depth. Alex Kappa should be nowhere near our building. Jordan Meredith. So there are some key free agents this year. Baltimore's center, Tyler Linderbaum, he's a free agent this year, and Baltimore didn't pick up his fifth-year option because they don't have the cap space. So he's going to go somewhere. There's a chance that he goes somewhere else. If I'm the Raiders, that's my first free agent phone call. I call Tyler Linderbaum, and I say, what is it, $20 million a year? You want a market-setting deal? No problem, dude. Because you set the anchor on that offensive line. Now, let me just run this down for you, Ken. Let's say the Raiders managed to land Linderbaum at center, right? Now you have Linderbaum at center, you have Jackson Powers Johnson at right guard, you have Caleb Rogers at left guard, you have Colton Miller at left tackle. Is that already not a much improved offensive line from last year?
Mm-hmm.
And you have a full bevy of draft picks that you can go try to pick up a right tackle in the second round, right? Like there's that guy from Oregon, Isaiah World. He could play tackle. You can address the offensive line in a single offseason is what I'm saying. So that's why I say, but if you go get Lamar, I don't know if you can do that now. Like you might be able to go get Lamar and then get Linderbaum, but there's your draft, there's your cap money right there. Right. I hope they don't make a play for Brandon Ayuk because Ayuk just showed you that he's the kind of guy that can fuck up $120 million contract. Like, I don't want a guy like that on my team. Like, you signed a 4-year, $120 million extension and managed to piss that away with the Niners and get your guaranteed money voided. Like, I don't want that anywhere near my building. If I'm the coach, talented or not. Plus, he's coming off an ACL. Like, he's going to want to. Here's the thing: is he's going to want another deal like that 120 he just fucked up in San Francisco. I'm not willing to give him that. Like, if the Raiders were like desperate at wide receiver, which they kind of are, I might say, dude, I'll give you a prove it deal. I'll give you a 1-year, $10 million deal, and we'll see what happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think somebody's going to give him more than that. I can easily see a team paying him 15, 20 mil still.
Yeah, and more power to him. And it might even be the Raiders. But I don't want him signed to a long-term deal until he proves it, And I don't mean proves his talent. I mean proves that he
His
can
mentality.
he can get along in a building, right? Like that he's not going to become a poison to the team. And
He might be one of those guys you can only send to teams that have a rigid structure in place. And with the Raiders pretty well in rebuild mode, I wouldn't want to add that in if I'm you either. Especially bringing a brand new quarterback in, and now your top weapon is unstable, to put it in a friendly term.
Yeah. See, this is why, like, the Raiders are kind of stuck at that number 1 pick. They have to take Mendoza because there's not another quarterback that's even comparable in the draft. I wouldn't be against trading it down. Like, I wouldn't be against trading out of that number 1 pick.
I was just about to ask that you trade down and punt quarterback till next year.
So the Jets have the number 2, the number 16, the number 33, plus they have 2 or 3 first-round picks next year, right? I would try to get as many of those next year's firsts as I could, and I would take let's say number 2 and number 33, right? So give me, I'll get, or even number 16 and number 33. Like, give me number 16 and number 33, but give me all of next year's firsts, right? Take a player at 16 who's a blue chipper, help your defense or help your offensive line, whatever. And then you could take a guy. I would be willing to take a chance on a guy like Trinidad Chambliss from Ole Miss. Like, I feel like he has a Russell Wilson comp, and I feel like that's pretty accurate. Like, a lot of times comps are just like, who can we get that looks the most like this guy, right? But with Trinidad Chambliss, I think Russell Wilson is an excellent comp. He really does play like Russell Wilson. He plays backyard football a lot, but he put up really impressive numbers at Ole Miss, and he put up really impressive numbers against legit defenses like Georgia. Like, he shredded Georgia, dude.
Really?
So yeah, he shredded Georgia's defense. Like, didn't you see that? You didn't watch the game in the playoffs? He shredded Georgia's defense. He threw for like 300 something yards. Like, and despite the fact that, he's not polished. That's the thing, is like, he's not polished. He's going to need work. But if you're punting on quarterback till next year, let him come in. And what do you have to lose, right? If he sucks, okay, you're going to suck anyway because you punted on quarterback. So you're going to be picking top 10 next year. So you have a top 10 pick in addition to the Jets picks that you could use to go up and get your Arch Manning, or, well, probably not Arch Manning, because I have a feeling that Arch Manning will probably go number 1 and nobody's trading that pick. It's like the Andrew Luck pick. Like, you could offer whatever you want. Nobody's going to probably give that up. But next year's quarterback class is going to have probably 5 or 6 top flight guys instead of 1. But with that said, if the Raiders, I feel like they're kind of stuck here, but being stuck with Mendoza is not a bad thing. Like, Mendoza has showed, he showed a lot of moxie and grit, and he has good traits, right? Like, he's a fast processor. He's able to go through his second, third reads. He's a tough guy. I mean, I don't know if you saw the national championship game, but he was getting targeted, bro. Like, Miami was coming after his ass. They were hitting him late. They were hitting him. It was like their coach told him, it doesn't matter if the ball's gone. Hit that motherfucker, like every single play, hit that motherfucker, and they were doing it. And he was just still getting up, and he was making the throws. That run at the end of the game to win the game for him, where he did the Elway dive into the end zone. It's like, come on, man. Like, that's the kind of guy I want on my team. A guy he's willing to put his body on the line like that for a win. That's the guy I want. But it just, yeah, we'll see. There's reason for hope if you're the Raiders. Like, I don't think it's as bleak as some people try. Like Stephen A. Smith the other day, he pissed me off. He's just basically like, there's nothing good about the Raiders, this and that. Like, just completely shit all over us, which is fine. It's Stephen A. Smith. I don't really, nothing he says really, yeah.
Yeah, I don't take anything he says seriously. Well, other than the Detroit Lions being frauds and garbage.
Yeah, to me, he's kind of like Skip Bayless, bro. Like, he's there for the reactionary takes. He's there to drive clicks, man. Nobody's gonna want Ayuk. Yeah, I agree. He's basically like on his way to being AB at this point.
At least
there's a guy in the draft that I would really like. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to make a joke.
No, I don't want to interrupt a good Antonio Brown joke. Like,
I was going to say, at least AB had the cover of Vontaze Burfict turned his brains into scrambled eggs. What's Ayuk's excuse for this one?
I don't know. Mr. Big Chest. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been talking to a few Steelers fans too, that I'd said that Mike McCarthy's going to be absolutely freaking horrible for you. Just for the whole fact of what we saw with the Cowboys and the end of his Green Bay tenure.
Dude. See
I,
this.
I don't think he's motivated to really win. I think he's just happy collecting the paycheck. Honestly,
Bro, see this. Normally, I wouldn't push back, and I'm even taking into account that you know a lot more about Mike McCarthy than I do because he was your head coach for many years. But I'll just say this: he had the Cowboys at 12-5 and in the playoffs 2 years in a row. Like I to say that he's not motivated to win is, I think he would provide the Steelers with offensive consistency that they haven't had in a long time. Does that mean that they're going to win rings? I mean, there's a lot that goes into winning rings, dude. It's not just that, right? But look at the Steelers' problem for the last 10 years. What has their problem been?
needing a quarterback. That's one thing I will give him. He does work well with quarterbacks. But my whole thing is it is massively stuck in my mind the ending of his Green Bay tenure where he wasn't even out there for the practices. He was in his office getting massages. Well, you heard from Cowboys players about him not being in team meetings and not seeming like he was invested. This is where I now call this a core personality trait and not just, hey, shit happened.
Okay, and that's fair. I'm not pounding the table for him to go to Pittsburgh. I'm just simply saying that I think there's worse. I think that they could do worse. And
Yeah,
I do believe that Mike McCarthy could add some offensive stability to the Steelers, which is something that they desperately need. Like you look at this past season, even with Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf, they still were struggling to find their identity. Are we a defensive team? Are we an offensive team?
now, if it was bringing him in as an OC to a defensive head coach, I would be all over that because you got, again, like Dable there, somebody to keep the thumb on him. But instead of Dable being the attitude, it's, hey, make sure you're paying attention to these practices, dude.
Yeah, but Mike McCarthy is a Super Bowl winning head coach. Is he really going to want to go be an OC somewhere?
Is he really a Super Bowl winning head coach, or did he luck out that Aaron Rodgers was on his team with a top 10 defense? Because that narrative is out there.
I really hate that narrative. I think you can be honest about Mike McCarthy without being unrealistic. And I think the people who say that are huge Aaron Rodgers fans. But and don't get me wrong, I'm an A-Rod fan too. Like he went to Cal. I'm a Cal fan. Like I love A-Rod, dude. But to not give Mike McCarthy any credit for that season whatsoever, I feel is just dishonest. Like, yeah, you had Aaron Rodgers, you had a top 10 defense. Your offense was probably like close to number 1 in the league, right? Like you were killing people, but that doesn't happen just because you have Aaron Rodgers. Like Mike McCarthy had a part to play in it, And granted, later on in his tenure, like Aaron Rodgers was like, "Nah, I'm just going to call the plays." Like,
not just that, he would literally turn to the sideline on camera and shout at him, "Stupid fucking play," and made sure he announced every bit of it so the camera could catch it too. Now, I might shit on McCarthy, but to your point of it, when he first came into Green Bay with what he did with Favre in the beginning of Rodgers' career, that offense was outstanding. It's just he never adapted once that offense grew stale. And we saw even a lot of it come out with the Cowboys too, that they were just running old Packer plays.
Yeah. And so, like I said, maybe McCarthy isn't the right guy for the Steelers, but I just felt like he could offer them some offensive stability, which I'm looking solely at the Steelers' needs. The Steelers need offensive stability like a crackhead needs a hit. You know what I mean? They for the last 10 years, the Steelers' problem has been they have no offensive consistency, right? They don't have a quarterback, and if they have they haven't had a quarterback. And besides not having a quarterback, they either have receivers that aren't very good or receivers that they can't get to. I mean, they had George Pickens on their team, he couldn't do anything with him. And now look, he's in Dallas. He's absolutely killing it, dude. What's the difference? You put a guy like Dak Prescott there, who in my mind, like, he's a great regular season quarterback, but he's nobody that I would want in the playoffs, right? Like, so even with serviceable quarterback play, like, you see what Pickens turned into, right? Like, so I just feel like he would offer them some offensive stability. But there are other candidates out there, right? And the Steelers' job has to be attractive to people, right? You have an organization with a track record of winning consistently, like making the playoffs and just getting bounced in the first round, right? So if you can improve on that, you're already like, you're doing well. Like, you're coming into a team that barely made the playoffs. So they have some needs, and you definitely need the quarterback of the future in the building, right? But you have the luxury of having Aaron Rodgers there potentially for another season. So if I'm the Steelers, I do whatever I got to do to get Ty Simpson from Alabama, and I let him sit behind Rodgers for a year. Because I actually believe Ty Simpson, like, I think going back to college would have been good for him for another year. But if he's going to come out, he needs to sit a year at least.
And sitting behind Rodgers, Rodgers is going to teach him shit. Because not only did we see that with Love, but he even tried to take Zach Wilson under his wing. Now, granted, that one didn't work out, but I think that's because he got thrust back into the spotlight too early and didn't get a full chance to sit there and learn again.
I mean, there's worse situations to be in, I don't have very much confidence that the Steelers are going to be very good this year with Rodgers. Like, just being honest, Rodgers has reached the end of his physical ability to play at a high level. Like, he'll have a game here and there, but his time of being a consistently great quarterback is over. And so I don't have high hopes for the Steelers for winning a lot this year. And I think that's okay. Like, you have 20 straight years of no losing record, right? And look where it's got you. It's got you drafting high, middle of the pack. Like,
now, I 1000% believe that Rodgers would not give a flying fuck if he did, tried, or whatever. He'd probably laugh his ass off and call up his old man and say, "Hey, look what happened."
Yeah, Rodgers is not the right guy to make that joke about, because he doesn't really care about his parents. He's already made that clear. But I don't know, man. The Steelers is a good position. It's an attractive opening, but there's definitely some needs. And I'll go ahead and say it. The Steelers need to go ahead and suck for a year. They need to go ahead and suck for a year and infuse that team with young talent. Getting those high draft picks every round. Like, if the Steelers can get into that top 10 every round, like, that will help their team. So, yeah, I don't know. I also think a guy like Kubiak would probably go over there and do well. He could provide some offensive spark there. But the Steelers still have needs, and they have an aging defense. TJ Watt isn't getting any younger. They got Jalen Ramsey over there. They have some aging players.
So are you almost suggesting fuck it and almost tear the Steelers down into a rebuild? Since you have already an aging defense, why not trade TJ Watt for what you can get out of him?
If you're going to do that, now would be the time, or even possibly last year. But yeah, you could still probably get a pretty decent haul for TJ Watt. So yeah, I would say go ahead and lean into the rebuild, dude. Like, go suck for a year, maybe even tank. Like, I know the Steelers probably aren't going to do that, but you might not really. If the season starts out bad for you anyway, it might not seem like such a bad idea if you're sitting at 2-5, like, just go ahead and tank it out Get yourself one of these top quarterbacks next year and start the rebuild process, you know? You have
Imagine-
players.
Just for the sake of fucking argument here, imagine you get a Manning in for the Steelers at quarterback. Imagine with a franchise with a history of being pretty much perennially good, and you're going to add possibly a superstar quarterback to that. That unfortunately sounds like the makings of a new dynasty.
If that's what you're going for, it's going to take sucking. You're going to have to suck for a year, you know, maybe two, like but at least one. And you're going to have to dump those high price contracts that you have right now. And you're going to have to start playing your young guys. You know, I mean, you have some guys who aren't old, like Porter, for example. Porter's a really good corner.
Oh yeah, I'm keeping him.
Yeah, I'm keeping him. Like, I'm not saying to tear the whole thing down, but guys like TJ Watt who are making 30, 35 million a year, like, that's got to go. You know, you can go and you can get a defensive end in the draft on a rookie contract. He's probably not going to be TJ Watt, but having TJ Watt isn't really helping you all that much right now anyway. Like, he's getting stats, but you're not winning games. And so
No. Fred, where the disconnect here is you got to have a legitimate franchise caliber quarterback, not just, you know, Jared Goff, who hasn't amounted really to much.
why are you going to do that, kid?
You want to know why? Because fuck the Lions. That's
you know,
why.
you know that I was just going to say, but now, you know, the Lions fans are going to tear the whole fucking chat up for the next 15 minutes. Like, so
hold on. Yenser, please tell me you're joking.
maybe he's not, you know,
With the nonsense going on in Buffalo, it wouldn't shock.
head coach is a little bit much, but I certainly would consider giving Phillip Rivers a shot at OC. Like, why not? I mean, Phillip Rivers, dude, he was a field general. That dude could diagnose a defense with the best of them, you know? That was never his problem. The mental side of the game was never his problem.
Oh, we got ourselves a broski bear for the ending of the show.
What's up,
What's going
Broski?
on, guys?
Oh my God, it's fucking true. It's fucking true.
What's that?
The Bills are interviewing Phillip Rivers for a head coaching vacancy.
What could go wrong? What could go wrong? You know, from coaching a high school team to coaching the Bills. I mean, they're bound to lose.
I'm telling you, I swear to freaking God, the owner's trying to do everything in his power to destroy the Buffalo Bills and make sure that they're not a freaking NFL team anymore. Because,
Dude, I said it yesterday. I'm going to go ahead and say it again. I think there is a decent chance that Josh Allen asks for a trade before training camp, dude. I really do.
Yeah, and I think Max Crosby's getting traded to the Bears.
To the Bears?
Yep.
nah, we don't need that. They should probably send him somewhere where they can get a nice.
Did you
draft
see him
pick
tweet
for
out
him.
a little picture of himself in a Bears uniform and all the good stuff he said about Caleb?
No.
Yeah, he's
But-
like, basically, you play for a quarterback like that on your team, and it's infectious, man. Like, it pours into the entire team. Everyone gets like motivated by it, and then he put out a tweet of himself in a Bears uniform, and Caleb liked it. And I found out his contract is only after the season. It's like $28 million team options, like every year. Like after next season. So like the team he's getting traded, it's only 30 mil. It's only 30 mil. For next season.
He's severely underpaid for an egg of his caliber. Like, his contract makes him extremely tradable. I don't
usually
want to
Moore's
trade
getting
him.
paid like 25, 26, 27. They want to pair Mendoza with a young wide receiver so they can have Moore and Bowers for him to throw to. And I think it's going to happen, man. I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I
Uh,
also have been hearing a lot of rumors that the 49ers are going to make a significant push to try to trade for Max.
Yeah, I would rather. I would not want to trade him to the Bears for DJ Moore. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm
I'm
sure
don't
good.
want
you get like you like Joe. You could probably get like a first and a third round draft pick along with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
It wouldn't
I
just be
don't
like a
want.
head up player for player trade.
But I don't want DJ Moore anywhere near our team after that route he ran against the Rams. Like,
Yeah.
that's what turned you off on him, not him going on the sideline during the middle of a play to stop for a sandwich.
that I mean that was already there, but I'm like Caleb was playing like shit at that time, and so I could understand the frustration. But no, to jog a route in the divisional round where you have a chance to win the game, like that's not the kind of effort that I want on my team at all.
No, I wanted him
I would
going.
rather
I wanted him going
go and
after
draft a
last
guy.
year.
There's a guy that'll be available in the second round. His name's Jacoby Lane from USC, and he's not a burner like DJ. You know, he doesn't have the speed that DJ Moore has, but he's your prototypical X. He's like 6'4", 200 pounds. He high points the ball really well. He's really good at contested catches. Like, he plays almost like a center. Like, you know, he boxes people out to make catches. Like, he's not a burner, like I said. So, you know, you're gonna have to rely on get speed elsewhere on the team. Like, you know, Trey Tucker is a speed guy, Dante Thornton is a speed guy, but he's a reliable possession receiver that I wouldn't mind the Raiders taking a look at in the second round. I don't want DJ Moore though. I'm good.
So are you on board with Mendoza?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with it, but I don't want us to go get a defensive coach and then, you know, change his offensive coordinator every year and just ruin him like we've done with others. You know, like I want to see him have continuity and I want them to get a young offensive mind that can grow with Mendoza. Like, even if that guy doesn't have a whole bunch of head coaching experience, obviously he probably won't as a young guy. Like, at least they can grow into the job together, you know, and you just have to have a little patience.
Yeah. No, I'm curious to see how some of these head coaching vacancies are filled, because there's a lot of like retreads out there, you know, or just coaches who've been longstanding coaches in the league who maybe didn't get hired last year, took a year off. Then there's like, I mean, dude, there's a lot more vacancies than there are quality candidates, in my opinion. You know, like these teams are going to have to roll the dice on like someone who's never been a coach before. And it's one of those, like, you know, like the Bills, grass is always greener. Like, okay, but what's your plan to replace McDermott? Are you just going to roll the dice on some young, aspiring, you know, 35-year-old who's over caffeinated? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are we doing?
Apparently, Phillip Rivers is the plan.
Oh my
Okay,
God,
so
And
they're trying to save money on the they're trying to save money on the O line because they're just gonna have his like family play O line, I guess. Like they're gonna have all his sons play O line.
My thing was I don't know if I would offer him a head coaching job, but I might be willing to take a chance on him as an OC.
You start out with him as like a quarterback coach and see how that goes, and then go from there. Like,
Yeah.
that's about it.
But
with Phillip Rivers' career, and he at least has quite a few years of high school coaching experience. Granted, huge difference between high school and the pros. I wouldn't be against giving him a shot at OC, but I definitely wouldn't be like, oh yeah, this is going to be the thing that puts us over the top. It's more one of those, hey, fuck it, let's roll the dice.
Right.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Yeah, I really hope
Yeah.
that they don't trade Max Crosby to the Bears.
I'm with you, Joe.
And if they did,
Yeah,
if
and
they were
here's the
going to
thing,
put
like
together
I'm
a
not
package,
even like you know me, I'm like I don't buy rumors and shit like that, and but like this is actually like this shit actually happened, and I literally just found out about it like today. So
Yeah,
I'm like, oh shit, like
I mean,
that's yeah.
the more
Yeah.
you know, it's come to the point where it's like I don't want to get rid of Max, but if they do, it's not going to make me stop being a Raider fan. Like, if Max wants to go somewhere else, I want him to go where he feels he has a chance at a ring and he's happy. Okay, if he doesn't want to stick around, I'm fine with that as long as we get compensated fairly. But if I'm trading him to the Bears, I don't want DJ Moore. I want Rome Odunze. I'm making that part of the package. Give me Odunze and give me a first and whatever, and we're good. Like, we can call it good. It'll suck to lose Max, but Max he's pretty much on an island in that defense right now anyway. He's by himself. I'd like to see him go somewhere where he has additional players that imagine what Max could do on a halfway competent defense, like.
Yeah, I'd love to see him getting coached up by Dennis Allen. And from the sounds of it, they're going to be investing a lot into building this defense up this offseason. So, yeah, that would be something. And from a Bears fan perspective, hey, I would rather trade you DJ Moore, but if you wanted a Dunze, that's not stopping me. You can have a Dunze, a first and a third, and I would do that all day, all of the night.
Yeah, I like Odunze. Like, I don't think he's reached his full potential, and he doesn't have the attitude problems that DJ Moore has, and he doesn't have the effort issues. So for me, it's like I would take Odunze just because you don't know really what his full potential is yet. I don't think it's been reached. And the Raiders are going to need help for Mendoza. Like, they're going to need somebody that can catch the ball besides Brock Bowers. So, if solves that problem. Or at least it goes a long ways.
Yeah, they're definitely going to look to pair Mendoza up with, to me, like a receiver, a wide receiver. I mean, obviously they have Bowers, but they want a wide receiver to pair him up with as well.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, like, if you look at, I was just talking to Ken about it. Like, Linderbaum is a free agent this year. That would be my first phone call that the Raiders make in free agency. I would call Tyler Linderbaum and I would give him his market setting contract, no problem. Because then you put him at center, Jackson Powers Johnson at guard, Caleb Rogers at other guard, Colton Miller at left tackle. You take in the second round, maybe you take Isaiah World from Oregon. Your offensive line is fixed. And then if you're going to trade Max, okay, cool. Like, now you got Rome Odunze, you got Brock Bowers, you got Ashton Genty. Like, you have an offensive core that you can work with, and then you have players that you don't really know what you have yet, like Dante Thornton and Jack Betch. Betch didn't really impress me that much this season, but he also didn't get the ball thrown to him a lot. So you don't know what you have there, but at least you have a core that could, you could work with, and an offensive line that's not going to get Mendoza killed.
All right. But, we have unfortunately reached that time here, everyone. We want to thank everybody for watching. Thanks for taking your time to comment. Have yourselves a wonderful rest of your day until it's time for Packer Backer Boys tonight at 7 Central. And then make sure you tune in for that. But as always, it's go Pack.
Caleb's your daddy.
Caleb ain't anybody's daddy. He got cucked by
your
Josh
father.
Jacobs.
Raider Nation, baby.
Yeah, yo, it's game time, ain't no messing around. Huddle Sports Network, the best in town. From NFL rumors to the latest trends, we got all your sports, just tune in, my friends. Catch us on Roku, Fire Stick, take your pick. Facebook,